of Sanusi Vision Art and Life. My name is Adewale Agboke Jr. Please review us, rate us, give us a 5-star. Don't be a hater. Today I'm doing something super cool, man. Today I'm talking about a sculpture that I created in school. It's part of a big project I'm working on. It's called Owo DoTi. Basically, it's about Africa, man, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to do a project about Africa. It's basically about the history of Africa, colonialism, using a sculpture that I created in school, man. And this thing is pretty sick, and I plan on entering it into the art contest in February when school starts in the spring. But I definitely know this is the kind of piece that could make it to multiple museums and stuff like that. But it's something that I've been working on. I don't want to call it Pan-Africanism. It is Pan-Africanism, but lately everything I do is really Afro-African based. I feel like my talent belongs to Africa, and it's always belongs to Africa. It's time to bring it home and rep Africa. And so this project was a chance for me to do that. And don't worry, I'm gonna walk through the big old thing that's behind me right here, man. Don't worry, I'm gonna show you that. Before we get into this podcast, I want to thank our sponsors. This Sanusi Vision podcast is brought to you by Homeland Fashions, home of authentic African fashion and accessories from the land. So Homeland Fashions is a African company that does clothing, and I plan on having them, the CEO, the great Tracy Agboke, come on the show and talk to us about her platform, about how what the clothings are, how the clothes are designed, where they're designed, who's the audience. And yes, it's a clothing's gonna be for everybody, man. From adult, from male, female, male, and kids and youth as well. So they're gonna be designed on spectrum. So I brought out to bubas and everything you can think of, man, and to match and the matching accessories. So Homeland Fashions, HomelandFashionShop.com is gonna be the website. They're working on it right now. I believe it's HomelandFashionShop.com, but this is the logo right here. So you know it's pretty sick, man. You know, people out here doing amazing things, building great things. So I think it's and for me, joining forces with somebody who does amazing things like this, where they're doing their own brand, growing their own brand, I love it, because I myself know about growing my own brand. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for me to be a part of something special, which is Homeland Fashions. And this podcast also brought to you by Tigler. If you need executive services from plumbers to pediatricians and everything in between, search Tigler. Don't wait. That's Tigler.com. So Tigler is owned and operated by Owo Agboke, one of the greatest CEO out there in the galaxy, along with Tracy Agboke. Tigler, definitely, if you are a carpenter, landscaper, nurse, professionals, Tigler is the middle person that lets you know who's who and who's the best for the job. So if you want to know who's the best person for the job, you got to go get Tigler.com. And their logo, Tigler.com, is right there. And I've had Tigler, the president and CEO of Tigler, on the show, actually. I think it was episode number 170, to talk about what's going on with Tigler. Well, he's going to be coming on again to let us know what's going on with it. But they're located in 2 locations, in the East Coast, in the Virginia area, and then the West Coast, Los Angeles, Long Beach area. So if you love to have the best person for the job, you got to go get Tigler.com. That's Tigler.com. And this podcast also brought to you by Anadel Foot and Ankle. Don't live with foot pain. Anadel Foot and Ankle, make your feet happy again. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. Y'all, don't worry. We're getting to this thing right here behind me. I know that's what everybody came for. That's what I'm going to show y'all. So AnadelCenter.com is owned and operated by Dr. Nero Nosode, the best foot specialist out there in the galaxy, who has made my feet a lot better. I was in a lot of pain, but I got to tell you, thanks to these custom orthotics he designed for me, man, I am pain-free. You know, I don't really, I stretch, he showed me stretches, he showed me anything but surgery. You know what I mean? And so surgery was not the way I was trying to go. I was just trying to get my feet strong, and with over time, say your feet's gonna heal. So thank all of y'all for joining me tonight. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Sanusi Vision Art Life. Hello to Faye Wagons, I believe. Thank you for joining the chat. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe to the channel, man. This is gonna be an amazing episode. I'm talking about sculpture. But specifically, this sculpture I just created in art class. It's my sculpture class. And for those of you who were fortunate this morning, I was on live this morning from school. Literally on live this morning, making another piece at work, at school. So I'm gonna be doing that a lot more now. When I'm making a piece, I'm gonna be going live and y'all can see me at work. Definitely, that's gonna be awesome. So y'all definitely wanna check that out. So AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. Excuse me, I gotta show you the logo. AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. And if you live in the Dallas, Texas area, or the Frisco, Texas area, you want to go see Dr. Nero Nosode, at their location. And also, if you live in Houston, Texas, they ain't nothing but 4 hours away. So go see Dr. News so they make your feet feel great, man. So customer thoughts, man. Y'all, thank you for joining me tonight, man. Welcome to another awesome episode of Sanusi Vision Life. My name is Adewale Gboke Jr. Today we're going to talk about the sculpture. I'm calling the project Owo DoTi. And today is really about Africa, right? And the ties of how colonialism really messed up Africa and all the things that the parasitical countries that have used Africa to grow themselves since World War II. Now look, I'm going to move some stuff out the way because the only way to explain this is really to show you this thing right here. So this right here is a sculpture that I created in art class. And I remember when my professor gave us a project, and yes, you can see I'm wearing African attire too. I wanted to create a project that actually represented Africa. Yes, if you want to leave, leave. Because I've always noticed something. Whenever you want to talk about Africa, people seem to have a problem with it. Because otherwise, if you're not giving your arm or saving us, or some white person saving us, you want to watch. No, sorry, we Africans actually, we can save ourselves. So if you want to watch, stay. If not, get the hell lost. I do not care. You know what I'm saying? But today, it's about a sculpture I created. It basically tells you the history of Africa, how colonialism really made it a hot mess over there, where it created a trigger. And what these things are strands. I'm not going to make it too complicated, but bottom line is, each one of these countries was a colonizer, or they had slaves in their country that built their country. Of course, we all know the United States. Come on now, nobody colonizes more than them. You know what I mean? But I'm thinking also too, maybe I'll change the angle. I think I'm going to change the angle, yo. That's the thing I love about having this thing right here. I think I can do this right here. Give me a second, yo. Yeah, that's much better. So right here, y'all, you can actually see the Africans, you can actually see it now. You can see the difference in the way I created the stand. Well, I put it on a different stand, but this right here is the history. So the first thing I wanted to do when I created the project was more about like, what kind of story did I want to tell? And when I first started creating the shape, all I had was really, like, I had a wooden plank, and then we laser cutted it onto there so we get what we wanted. I'm telling y'all how I built it, but the history of Africa is plain and simple. First continent, there's one continent that feeds the rest of the continents. As you can see, these strands that I put on here basically symbolize people parasitically living off of Africa. So from America to Brazil to France to Germany to Europe to Belgium, Netherlands, Holland, Austria, Germany, of course, Saudi Arabia. Yes, I'm not leaving Saudi Arabia's filthy loading asses over there. There's some freeloaders. You know what I mean? But part of the journey of this project. Give me a second. Give me a second, yo. You know what? I was trying to figure out how the best angle to put this thing at. I guess this is the best angle because this allows me to see everything. There we go. So this right here, actually, I got an idea. There we go. I think that's better. So basically, the history of Africa is plain and simple. First continent, fed everybody else, and for the longest, Africa has been seen as this place we're going to use to dump all the goods. When Europeans came, there's a Berlin meeting in 1884, which divided Africa into 54 countries. A lot of y'all don't know that. And that's how Africa got all these countries that it has now. Prior to that, there was no countries. Everybody was just borders. You just knew your neighbor. So in 1884, about 14 European countries came in, wanted to have a meeting. Europe Britain, France, Germany, Austria-Hungary. Let me give you all the names. The United States was there, France, Spain, Sweden, Argentina, Germany, Netherlands, Italy, Belgium, England, of course, Ottoman Empire, Portugal, Austria-Hungary. All showed up at a meeting in Berlin Conference to talk about how they were going to split Africa into God knows how many parts, which they did. They successfully did. So 15 people sat in a room and divided Africa into 54 parts. Until today, 54 leaders can't put Africa back in one spot. And that only happens when you have colonialism doing what it does, which is to keep the place divided so you can keep freeloading off of it. I mean, I could sit here all day long and give you the history of Africa, but this sculpture, I plan on using it at school, entering into the school competition, because there's going to be a school art show. And no, I do not care whether people stay or go. I sometimes do podcasts like this, and I notice that when I do podcasts like this, the people that want me to entertain them, because I'm not here to entertain you, don't like it. They want me to talk about some corny shit. I do not give a fuck about what you want to talk about. This is what I'm going to talk about. This thing right here basically symbolizes all the fucked up shit that Europe has done, Saudi Arabia has done. Most of these colonies that are parasites feeding off of Africa. So creating it was, the main focus was to show the story of how Africa is being used to feed the rest of the planet, right? And if you look at this, right, I can see the title, Owo DoTi, Africa. This symbol, the spear, usually is a symbol of strength, honor, and unity, but also too, I also put it on there on purpose because to show the symbol of Africa moving up, because that's the only way you can go from here on out. We already seen the bottom, it's time to move on up. So if you're gonna do anything, you have to be unified. And the problem with Africa is that we're not unified, which leads to the history of Africa. Yes, we've had different wars, but it's never been like this where hundreds and hundreds of years where you can't solve your own problem. Why do you have to go have a meeting in other countries in Qatar to solve it between DRC and Rwanda? Does that even make any sense? So the history of Africa is a continent that's being fed off of, and the people that are feeding off of it are parasites. In 1944, after the Axis powers came together to rebuild Europe, guess where they decided they're going to steal from? Africa, right? This started long before colonialism. So from that time frame till the 60s and early 50s, European countries were leeching off of Africa. So you got to remember, 1884, 1944, then in the 60s you got free, but it wasn't really freedom, it was imperialism. Because imperialism disguised itself as neocolonialism, which means you would still have control, but you would have control through those who are leaders within the communities of those countries. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is very intoxicating, to say the least, right? And what you have here is a sculpture of me creating history, let you know, like, for example, I'm gonna read this thing to you. Africa, Owo DoTi. Africa is the beginning, the past, present, and the future. Colonization was not just about using Africa's resources to feed European and Arab nations. Africa is still being used as a feeding ground, supply chain, and dump spot, except now it's through corrupt African appointees, unpatriotic crooks who have no love for their own country, for their countries. Neocolonialism is the worst phase of colonialization, working with corrupt African appointees to steal African resources and its biggest resource, African people. But a new age has come. Pan-Africanism is the cure, a fully and completely liberated Africa. You know, I can't stress enough the importance of, like, how important it is for Africans to actually have some dignity and pride about what they're doing. You know what I mean? And what I noticed is that whenever I come on here and talk about stupid crap, sneakers, yada, 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 y'all are all here to stay. But when I talk about something that, I'm not here to entertain nobody. I'm here to educate you. If you don't like being educated, you shouldn't show up. You know what I mean? But this right here is all, and look, when I created this, one of the things I wanted to do when I was creating it was, how was I going to explain the parasitic symbiotic junction? So I created these chains, these wires, right? And I attached it through Africa. And then I attached these sticks that are like makeshift tentacles where they can bend, right? And then I attached the countries to it. So each country one by one. So the first one is Brazil. Brazil, and I'm going to get to the ownership of the country, which brings me to the conference of 1884. A lot of countries, Brazil, France, if you weren't at the meeting, your country was still built by African slaves, because all of them were in the slave trade. How long? I'm going to tell you how that was. Each country had a filthy hands in it. 1885, and give me a second, y'all. Let me get some information. Give me a second. I'm going to go hunting for some information. I really don't know how I want to talk about this. I'm just going to talk about how I want to talk about it. And those who show up, show up. Those who don't, I do not care. I've stopped trying to be, Give me a second, y'all. You know, I just thought of a question. What was worse? Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to. How y'all doing, man? Thank y'all for joining me. I'm gonna be writing a question for y'all. So welcome to the Sanusi Vision Art Life Podcast, episode number 231. We're talking about Africa, man, and the paintings and the works. And right now, what I'm gonna show y'all is 1884. So when I created this sculpture, it's an art piece, man, I'm using at school. I actually created an art project at school. It's actually pretty cool. And let's see. Yep, 1884 Berlin Conference. I just want to tell you all the countries that were involved in that hot mess, man. And so, let's see here. I'm trying to, okay. So basically 7 of the countries that were in there were Austria-Hungary, Russia, Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, Ottoman Empire, United States, of course. I'm trying to think. France, Britain, Belgium. Let's see. Let's see. Those are the countries that were involved. You have to understand, Leo, the way they did this thing, it was just a carve up, and that's what it was for. You can't have 54 countries in Africa now today, if not for the separation of the 54 countries. The 1884 conference. The 1884 conference is really just about dividing Africa into conquerable parts, which is what happened. You have to understand what the sculpture is, and that's what it represents. So I remember when I took the project on, when I decided to take the project on, and for those of you who are gonna stay, stay. Those who are gonna leave, free to leave. This ain't one of those cartoon episodes. This is one of them real episodes right here, man. You know what I mean? I'm an African, and Africa right now is going through a stage of change, and I'm gonna be a part of that change. I'm not gonna have people asking, what did you contribute? Oh no, I contributed. Artists are probably the biggest weapon in Africa right now, where we can show what is really happening in Africa. You know, how we can say how the leaders are as crooked as they are. They're appointees, they're imperialists, working for imperialists. So how are you gonna be imperialist of your own people? That's what this thing represents. You see, every single strand of these things comes to a country, through a country. And these symbols, these strands represent the symbiotic, parasitic partnership. It's not even a partnership, a parasitic approach to which a lot of countries have been using to build themselves up. Belgium wouldn't be shit without Africa. America wouldn't be shit without Africa. France wouldn't be shit without Africa. None of these countries would be shit without Africa. The biggest part of this podcast episode I'm going to do tonight is me reading you the history of the colonizers. How many slaves, how many people they owned, all the crazy effed up stuff, the fucked up shit that they did. And then even if you weren't a colonizer within the country of Africa, you used slaves to build your country. Examples, Belgium, Argentina. Yes, that Argentina that tries to paint itself like it's white, but it's not white. You're still freaking of Hispanic community, but you treat the rest of the Hispanic community like shit. Yeah, Argentinians, boy, I've heard a lot of bad shit about y'all motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's 1884 Berlin Conference really destroyed Africa. Like, these guys came in with a plan. And I want you to imagine this. 15 people sitting in a room deciding what part of Africa they're going to take. And then actually taking their parts. And then until today, we still exist and live within those confines. Now what we need from leaders, those who are in charge now or the new generations to come, we got to get rid of the old ways. Africa's got to create its own structure. From language to education to getting rid of religion. I think religion is the biggest disease in Africa today. Because what it does is you got tribal stuff, but then what makes it worse is that now you want to hide behind Christianity and Islam. And let me make this clear. Arabs are the worst slaving human beings ever. They've been slaving people since the 7th century. Well over, engrossing now to 30 million slaves. They just got rid of kafila system last week. These guys think it's okay to own slaves. So now Africans go to Saudi Arabia to go get jobs, and then they turn into slaves. They snatch their passport. They make them work for only one family. They can't work anywhere else. They can't. So they went somewhere to better their life, but they start becoming slaves. It's modern day slavery, and they're actually proud to be that, to actually be modern day slavers. Saudi Arabia is probably the biggest shithole you don't know about. So it's no accident that they have no regard for life. They murder anybody who protests against them. The Saudi government, the Saudi royal family, they're some bitches, man. You know what I'm saying? They walk around like they have money, but they have no fucking money. All the money they have is based on slavery. All the oil you got, Nigeria's got twice as much oil as Saudi Arabia. The only difference is that Nigerian leaders are so crooked they can't organize themselves to use the resources to benefit their country. Which is why you have a situation like you have now in Sudan, where all the African countries should descend on Sudan and mop the floor with the RSF. But instead, you got this bastard in Kenya, Ruto, collecting money, collecting checks, shaking hands. How you shaking hands with murderers? And that's the problem right there. I think I've said this before. A country that's trying to ally itself with European countries is a disease in Africa. Kenya tends to do that, trying to make themselves look like, oh, we're the standout country. They're also the same stupid country that actually wants the United Nations to come settle itself there and build a fucking building and move from Geneva. Fuck United Nations. What the hell has United Nations ever done for Africa? Name one damn thing they've ever done, except for steal and cause wars in the Congo, cause wars in West Africa, allow France to still be imperialist. No, hell fuck no. So these countries, remember in 1884, a meeting was of colonial powers that concluded with the signing of the General Act of Berlin, an agreement regulating European colonialization and trade in Africa during the new imperialism period. The conference of 14 countries was organized by Otto von Bismarck, this piece of shit. He's a piece of shit from Germany, the first chancellor of Germany, at the request of the Leopold II of Belgium, at a building number 77, now number 92, on Berlin Central West. I can't even pronounce this piece of shit. They have the nerve to keep this piece of shit building up. It was met on 15th on November 1884, and after an adjournment concluded on February 26, 1885. Can you believe that shit? These motherfuckers spent 3 months dividing Africa. Concluded on February 26, February 1885, with the signing of the General Act. During this conference, attendees also discussed other related issues and agreed on a common framework for the recognition of European effective occupation of African coastal territory elsewhere on the continent. After the conference, the pace of European claims being made on African territory increased, part of the scramble for Africa that had already began. So they used this meeting to conclude and divide and keep a proper division of what country was going to get what. You know what I'm saying? It was intoxicatingly toxic. And I'm not making Oh yeah, Arabs are unscrupulous. Those motherfuckers are pieces of shit. They are racist as hell. They have been hiding behind. Um, they've been enslaving people since the 7th century. Well over 800 years of slavery. Well over 25, 30 million slaves of African slaves. They still do today. The kafala system. They still use it. Saudi Arabia, oh yeah, don't worry about these motherfuckers, man. Their whole intent is to Arabize Africa. Fuck them. We're not gonna allow Arabs to Arabize Africa. Fuck them. That's why they're attacking Sudan now. They're murdering all those Africans. If you're fighting another Arab group, why the hell are you killing Africans? What the hell they got to do with your war? But what they're doing is they're hiding behind it. They've been hiding behind it. I'm not gonna let them get away with that shit. They're some fucking bastards. No. Arabs, oh, those racist motherfuckers. They're not my fucking brothers. You know what I'm saying? I might have love for Palestine only because Palestine showed up for South Africa. But I got no love for African countries, Arab countries. Fuck Yemen, fuck Syria. Those motherfuckers, I got no love for them. People are talking about they're getting bombed by Israel, but these same motherfuckers are enslaving Africans. And Arabs didn't just enslave Africans, they enslaved Chinese. These motherfuckers, Arabs, they're the worst. These motherfuckers ended slavery in 1962. 1962 is when they ended old school slavery. And they still continued it till today. It was just last week, I believe, they ended the kafala system. They wasn't going to end the kafala system unless people were on their ass. And you got Africans going over there looking for a job. They'll kidnap the person and say you have to work for this one family. Only for this family. You can't even get a job. You're going over there to be a maid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hear this shit. I could give a fuck less about Arabs. Those motherfuckers, look at Egypt. Look at North Africa. North Africa would not be the way it is if they didn't come with that Maliku Salam bullshit. I come in peace. You don't come in no motherfucking peace. You come to steal. The only difference between white people and Arabs is that white people are honest about what they came to steal. Arabs pretend to be your brother and murder you in the back. They've been Arabizing Africa since the 7th century. That's why Algeria is Algeria, Libya is Libya, Egypt is Egypt. Egypt belongs to people that look like me. Those motherfuckers didn't build the pyramids. Are you kidding me? So for anybody who loves to hear the truth, please forward this stream right now that I'm live. Share with your friends and definitely follow, subscribe. No, if there's one thing you're getting from this channel, it's the motherfucking truth. I'm not here to kiss anybody's ass. I could care less about that. You know, that's the beauty of working for yourself. You ain't got to say shit the way people want you to say it. You say it how the hell you want to say it. You know, it's unfathomable that people still think Arabs are not guilty of slavery. These bastards have been slaving people since the 17th century. Way longer than the Spaniards. They began that bullshit in 1300s. Spaniards began their bullshit in 1444. You know what I'm saying? So it's not unscrupulous. But anyway, that's the Berlin Conference. You telling me the Berlin Conference, these motherfuckers used 3 months to destroy Africa, to divide it. And then when Belgium came, they murdered so many Congolese people. My God, it was insane the amount of Congolese people they killed. And they killed an abundance of Congolese people. When I say it was a massacre, it was a massacre. They stole rubber, they stole minerals, they stole ivory, they stole cotton. These motherfuckers did all kinds of atrocious Congo. And then the Belgium has the nerve talking about we're not going to pay reparation. Oh no, you bastards are going to pay reparation. Fuck y'all. Let me tell you what's happening right now. And this is what they're scared of. Africa is finally, this is particularly my generation. We have finally woken up and they are fucking scared shitless. So now they're doing what most imperialists do. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna create wars, a proxy war like the one they're trying to have in Nigeria between America and China. They're trying to create proxy wars in Ukraine. And make no mistake, Ukraine is a bastard country. Fuck Ukraine. Ukraine is actually playing Mauritania, a country that is above Senegal, to cause wars in Senegal. This insurgency. So they're paying jihadists in Mauritania to come and attack Senegal. All in an effort to destabilize. You have to understand the mindset of this imperialist, man. 1884 is still in act today. That's why France is the way it is. That's why France, they got kicked out of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, and they're still figuring out a way to keep their tentacles in Africa. But the problem is that Africans have had enough. As crooked as our leaders are, they've had enough. The citizenry is like, nah, get your shit and get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? England, get your shit and get the fuck out. Netherlands, you know, you got over here these dumbasses in South Africa. You're letting Palestinians come stay with you. Okay, would Palestinians let you come stay over there? Sometimes Africans, I don't know what the fuck is up with this low self-esteem, lack of love of self. Like loving your colonizer. I ain't loving no white man, fuck you. Or some Arab asshole, fuck you. Not the next imperialist or the next colonizer is fucking China. No, China is a shit show. China, every country that has never been great without Africa being the main resource of theft. Where they're stealing resources from Africa. That's how they've been great. America was great because they did that. Europe was great because they did that. Name one country that hasn't done it. Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? Saudi Arabia is over there with all the shit they've stolen. No, there are no apologies anymore, man. I'm done with that. Only the truth is what is left to be told. So now, let's talk about each colonizer because I'm just going to read. I can read fast through it, but I'm going to let y'all see it one at a time. One at a time. So look, let's start off with Brazil, right? Brazil got most of their slaves from West Africa, particularly Nigeria, my country, Yoruba. If you go to Brazil, there's a lot of Yoruba people over there. Over 100 million Yorubas, descendants. You can tell they're Yorubas, right? Guess who got them there? Brazil. Brazil was making purchases from Argentina in terms of buying slaves. Yes, we're not giving these people no passes, man. Are you kidding me? Hell no. So y'all be sure to share, like, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. You know what I mean? It's. Let me read what Brazil did. So Brazil. Now there's one colonizer you're gonna see me reading about all these countries. Owned Mozambique African slaves. They're parasitic just like everybody else. Took slaves from Angola, Congo, Benin, Nigeria, and Ghana. Right? And then look, let me read the rest of it. And then slaves owned over 5 million slaves. Brazil owned over 5 million slaves. That's why there's a big ass population of African descendants in Brazil. That's why you can see people as dark as me speaking Brazilian or whatever the hell language they speak. And then you got the white ones or whatever the hell you want to call them. I know in Brazil now, they don't see that as the issue. Maybe because Pele is a great player, but Pele is technically a fucking African. You know what I'm saying? He was technically an African. There's no getting around that. So y'all be sure to share, like, and subscribe and follow and hit the subscribe button. If you love history lessons, tonight's a good one. Tonight's a good night to get one. You know what I'm saying? And then of course too as well. Between the 16th and 19th century, slavery was abolished in 1888. Most of their slaves are Yoruba tribe, which is my tribe. You're not infuriating that is for me? Like there's a lot of people that don't even know what they are. But to know where you've come from is somewhat liberating. But to know that your ancestry, somebody put you in chains for over basically almost 700 years. You can't. These countries have no honor. Next up is guess who? Fucking bitch ass Spain, right? Spain is to call Spain a parasite would be speaking the least. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that's the fucking country that won the World Cup in 2012. That bitch ass country, Spain. Oh, they're a shit show, man. You know what I mean? Of course, they're parasitic. That's what I call them. They're parasites. Would not exist without Africa. They're death dealers. All these countries are death dealers. That's a common theme. Look, when I started this project, one thing I did was I put a lot of you see the names? I put a lot of information on there. And look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it so y'all can read it. Each one. So let's start off with Brazil. Look at Brazil. Owned Mozambique. African slaves, parasitic. Took slaves from Angola, Congo, Benin, Nigeria, and Ghana. Right? My country again. And then on the backside of it, slaves owned. Over 5 million slaves owned. Over 5 million. Between 16th and 19th century, slavery was abolished in 1888. Most of the people that were slaves are Yoruba tribe. Brazil ain't innocent in all this shit. Hell no. Next up is Spain's bitch ass. Look, Spain right here. Parasites. Would not exist without Africa. Death dealer. Took between 10 million slaves, between 10 million and 19 million slaves, with between 9 and 15 million surviving to the Americas. Between 15th century and 19th century, enslaving Africans. Ranked number 4 in the transatlantic slave trade, accounting for 8.5% of all deportations. Yeah, it's pretty sickening, man. And then look, when you read the back of this thing, look, I got more info. Used Christianity to colonize African territories. By 1530s, Spain ships began sailing directly to still Africans from in the slave trade. Abolished slavery in 1886. African countries colonized Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria, Angola. Man, all these dudes were all getting Western countries. Western countries. They were all getting Western countries. There's no getting around that. You know what I'm saying? There's just no getting around that. Okay, so we got Spain. Next up is, don't worry, I'm gonna get to France, bitch ass. I fucking hate France. Fuck France. They're probably the country I hate the most. Of all these colonizing countries, France is the worst. Because they're a different type of thief. Now let's talk about United States, right? United States of America. Yeah, I know y'all can see it. Right? United States of America. Parasite. African slaves built White House. Enslaver built wealth on African slave labor. 400 years of enslaving Africans. Washington monuments built by slaves. Lots of cotton machines and cotton fields. African slaves built infrastructure. Dev dealer. You know, these are kind of comic corners that I put up. Yeah, you might want to leave if you don't want to hear this stuff. Never paid for 80 acres and a mule. Lynchings. Separated but never created this equal society. Then, of course, on the back, took over 12 million slaves from Senegal, Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, Angola, Togo, Cameroon, Mozambique. African slaves represented 5 to 10% of the population. African slaves built America we see today. Slavery abolished in 1863, but ended totally in 1865. Reconstruction was another form of slavery. It's true. Reconstruction was another form of slavery. And look, let me let y'all see this. That's America right there. Yep, that's America right there. And that's the back right there. Oh, I do not care if you people want to see this. I'm going to talk about it. So you know what I mean? And these are all the countries that are all part of the colonization project. Next up is bitch ass France. They are the worst of the colonizers because they're so parasitic. They can't exist without Africa. They literally cannot. France cannot exist without Africa. They're proving that today. With Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso kicking them out, they ain't got no choice. All they can do is freeload. They got no money. They're going to be broke in 15 years. Trust me, France is going to be probably one of the poorest European countries on the planet. And it's coming. There's nothing that can stop it. Because destiny is written that Africa will rise and Europe will fall. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. France, they're parasites. Only 1,165,000 slaves survived the journey to the Americas. Death dealers, worst of the colonizers, thief, destroyed colonized African countries, languages, and culture. Put over 1.4 million Africans into slave ships. And then, of course, there's parasites, which is not common, that cannot exist without African countries. Colonized countries that they colonized: Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Cameroon, Togo, Benin, Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, Angola, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and then of course Haiti. Can't forget Haiti. A lot of people always forget that France colonized Haiti, and when Haiti kicked their ass, they said Haiti would never know peace, and Haiti has still not known peace. Tell me how messed up that. Tell me that is not messed up. It don't get no more messed up than that, man. And then of course, in 1944, killed Senegalese soldiers in the Touré massacre, part of Berlin Conference in 1884. Still collect colonization tax from Haiti and Africa, which is totally embarrassing. I can't believe they're paying these bastards colonization tax. That don't even make any damn sense. You know what I'm saying? That just makes no damn sense. Then you got the next one. You got Sweden. Yes, Sweden. Yes, I know Sweden. The Volkswagen making Sweden. Yeah, those motherfuckers. Yeah, they own slaves. Plenty of it too. You know what I'm saying? They're parasitic just like everybody else. Began enslaving from Africans in the 1650. Over 7,500 Africans into slave trade. Took slaves from Gold Coast, which is Ghana, West African countries, and Central African countries. Part of Berlin Conference, 1884 to 1885. that divided Africa into 53 countries. Created Swedish West Africa Company. Created Swedish West Media Company for slavery, profit, and for purposes. So used Caribbean island of Saint Bartholomew from 1784 to 1878. Damn, that's almost 100 years. Jesus. As a major center for slavery trade. It was, man, those, let me tell you, Sweden, those some bitches right there, boy. Straight up. Thank all of y'all for joining me. Look, now we got the next country, Argentina. Yes, Argentina. See, they weren't part of the conference, but these dudes were basically using were trying to whitenize themselves. And when the slaves that they had were from African slaves, there was a war that they had. They killed off all the African slaves. That's how they got rid of the Africans in their spot. So Argentina's parasitical, they're death dealers just like everybody else. They killed and its African slaves to its Britain population. Had hundreds of thousands of African slaves sold from 16th to 19th century. And then of course, you got the backside of the thing. Got slaves from Nigeria, Congo, killed off Afro-Argentinas in the wars of independence in 19th century. Indirectly part of Berlin 1884 conference. They were represented by a legal expert called Carlos Calvo. So Argentina may not have went to the meeting, but they damn sure was represented in the Berlin conference of 1884. Oh yeah. All these countries have their filthy hands dirty. No matter how they try to say it's clean, ain't nothing clean about it. You know what I mean? So let's get the next one. Oh yeah, Belgium. These bastards right here, boy. Nobody's committed more sins than these dudes. They've murdered countless Congolese. And I do mean countless. Countless. So they're parasites just like everybody else. They murdered the great Patrice Lumumba, first prime minister of Congo. They're death dealers. So brutally ruled the Congo, murdered millions of people from 19th century to 1980. Congo was owned by King Leopold II, colonized Rwanda and Burundi. From 1922 to 1962, owned millions upon millions of African slaves. Yeah, Belgium's a shit show, man. Yeah, you know, Belgian waffles, those motherfuckers, yeah, that's what they did. They did really fucked up the show. They really made a mockery of it. Boy, they made a mess. So today you can feel the after effects of what Belgium did in the Congo. Which is why we'll never, hopefully we'll see peace one day, but we ain't gonna see it anytime soon. Because we would allow a country to build, to do whatever it wants to do, and to keep serving them and giving them money, which makes no damn sense. That makes no damn sense to me. And next up, you got Italy, man. Italy, yes, Italy owned slaves. They own slaves too. Parasite, thief, owned millions of slaves. So you got Italy next. Italy's parasites is a thief. Oh my God. Most of their slaves came from the north. Owned millions of slaves. They're death dealers as well. Part of the Berlin Conference of 1884 to Africa, to carve Africa into 50 countries. Owned slaves from North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. And then of course the backside. 5% of its population were African slaves. Colonized African countries, Libya, Eritrea, Somalia, from 1912 to 1941, was defeated by Utopia in the Battle of Adwa in 1896, March 1st. So Italy's some bitches and they still got their ass kicked in spite of trying to steal. They lost to a country that was outmatched because that country had rebel fighters. You know what I'm saying? It's a trip, man. It really is. Next up is the Ottoman Empire, yes, which is to do with Saudis. These motherfuckers, for the longest, Saudis have been allowed to get away with not talking about slavery. During slavery, they weren't even accounted for. No, you should account for them because nobody's owned more slaves than Saudi lands. and I'm talking about anybody in the Saudi Arabia lands. Ottoman Empire is what you is what worked. They owned ridiculous amount of slaves. So just like all the other ones, they were parasites, they were thieves, they were death dealers. Owned over 20 million slaves from East Africa region. Brought slaves across Sahara Desert, North Africa, enslaved from 17th century to the 19th century. So enslaved from 7th century to the 19th century. So from 7th century to the 19th century, enslaved over 15 million slaves. 15 million slaves, y'all. Y'all know I'm feeling sleepy. I've been awake since 5 in the morning today. That's insane. And then, of course, raped millions of African women, castrated millions of African men to prevent breeding, transported its African slaves through Saharan, Red Sea, Indian Ocean, enslaved Africans from Sudan, Central Africa, Ethiopia, and yeah, these Ottoman Empire, it's a combination of various Arab countries. Man, the Ottoman Empire did all kinds of fucked up stuff, and they hid beyond religion, right? So Christians, whites hid behind the Crusades. These Arabs decided to hide behind Islam. I come in peace. Malikum salam. No, you don't come with no malikum salam. You come to steal. You come to murder. I'm not letting you get away with that. For the longest, Arabs have been getting away with not being slave owners. They have owned a ridiculous amount of slaves. You know what I'm saying? It's just everybody focus on white people. No, Arabs are to be accounted for what they did, and they will be accounted for. Now, you got Portugal, next bitch ass country. No wonder why Portugal's broke now today. Portugal is the OG of slavery. Oh yeah, those dudes, oh my God. They were doing all kinds of messed up stuff during the days of Queen Nungo from Angola. Yeah, they were trifling, man. So look, the OG of slavery, Portugal. Parasite, death dealer, thief, owned and operated over 6 million, owned over 6 million slaves. Began enslaving Africans in 1526 began enslaving Africans in 1526 to Brazil in the Americas. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. And then of course, Prince Infante D. Enrique began selling African slaves in Lagos in 1444. Colonized Angola, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, Captain Verde, Sumatrame, Tome, and President Pe used religion to colonize the African countries. So African territories. I mean, this was just bad, man. These people did all kinds of ill shit. Yes, those who want to stay, stay. Those who want to go, go. I do not care. I'm doing this episode. I wasn't expecting a bunch of views anyway. Next up is that shit show England. Jerry O London, yeah? Those motherfuckers, boy. Let me tell you, if you've never been to England, that ain't no place you want to live. They are some sorry motherfuckers. England, oh yeah, I could never live there again. I've lived there before, and I will never live there again. Those are some racist ass people right there, boy. They pretend to be decent human beings. They're always calling out America. You got no business calling out America because you're a crooked ass country, man. Now look, the OG of slavery, parasite, death dealer, thief, England, right? Took over 2 million slave people from Africa, leading slave trafficking from 1226 to 1800. God, that's crazy. So England, yeah, 1720. No, yeah, it can't be 1726. Yep, I'm gonna double check that. There's no way. How long did England Yep, 1726 to 1800. So, actually, no, longer than that. So, yeah, there we go. There we have it, man. It's despicable. If you're really into numbers, man, England had too many damn slaves, man. And then of course, too, in the back, they brought over 3.5 million African slaves with only 2.9 surviving. So they dished over 600,000 people in the oceans. That's what England did. And then they colonized Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Sudan, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, Malawi, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Somalia, Tanzania, Lesotho, Eswatini, and then Egypt. Continued slavery until 1838. Look, so the reason why England was able to actually, I still say this all the time, where they were able to colonize parts of Africa, they had an amazing warships, so they could invade countries not on land but through the sea. They could land on sea, come through sea, so they could be unexpected. Nobody knew when they were coming. It's not like they had GPSs back in the day to let people know when people were coming. So England, when they showed up in places, it just blew up everything. England was let me tell you something. If you've ever lived in England, it is not the spot. It's a shit show of the highest order. I would never live in England. There's no way in hell I would ever live there. And it's a young night too, so I don't know where the hell everybody's at. You know what I mean? Oh, that's right. I'm talking about something that's serious, and you sorry motherfuckers don't want to be here for that. Nah, I'm good. I will not be doing that. People love when you talk about stupid shit. No, sorry, not talking about stupid shit. That ain't happening. Then of course, the next one. Austria-Hungary. Parasite, death dealer, thief. Austria-Hungary owned slaves from 17th century to 18th century. Owned thousands of African slaves. Had colonial affairs in Mozambique and connections and through European countries. Attended 1884 Berlin Conference to decide the division of Africa into smaller countries. Yeah, it's you'd be shocked at how many countries were in on freeloading off of Africa, building themselves up. The amount of slaves that were there, it's ridiculous. Yeah, this is a sculpture. It's like, I want you to look at it as an art piece, but it's more than an art piece. It's actually a story telling a story. I'm unapologetic about it too. So I built this Africa, I built this thing right here, then I put it on a stand. Yeah, this thing is gonna be going into an art show pretty soon. So that's really gonna get a chance to tell a story. Then of course, the last but not least, Saudi Arabia's bitch ass. These motherfuckers have been owning slaves since God knows when, since the 17th century. They didn't abolish slavery till 1962, and they still practice slavery till today. Proudly too. Got the nerve to be hiding behind like, well, we want them to take off their clothes. Why the hell should they take off their clothes? You know what I'm saying? You've over there defiled, molested, and all kinds of shit that this Saudi Arabia has done. Over 20 million slaves, y'all. Over 20 million slaves. 20 million. 20 million slaves. They're parasites, death dealer, thief, owned over 20 million slaves, abolished slavery in 1882. Yeah, that's crazy. Then of course, wealth built on the backs of Africans, owned slaves in every century. Literally, they've owned slaves in every century. Saudi Arabia has had its filthy hands in slavery for a good minute. Then owned slaves from East Africa, Kenya, Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia. Used the caliphate system in which foreign workers were tied to a single employer for the time spent in Saudi Arabia. So instead of letting you be free, Saudi Arabia decided, oh no, we're gonna keep slaves. We want you to keep slaving for us, but we're gonna tell you the terms. Even though all you do is come here to get a job. So you are African, you go to Saudi Arabia to go get a job, and then the family that you with decide we're gonna keep you. You're a slave. You can only work for us. You can't go get no other job. Saudi Arabia is not no place I would want to live, because it's not designed for the success of an African person. It's designed for the success of those bitch ass Saudi Arabians. Arabs, they some racist motherfuckers, boy. They proved it when they doing what they doing in Sudan. They proved it when they're doing what they did to take over North Africa, where you got Egypt. Let me see. Let me point out all the countries. Give me a second. Yeah, I just want to read it to you. I'm trying to see. Yeah, when I tell you, man, it's crazy the amount of slaves that the people that they enslaved. This is Saudi Arabia right here. And these motherfuckers came to Africa and stole from Britannia, Sudan, Egypt, Libya, Algeria, Mauritania. And now what they're trying to do is basically Arabize Africa. But those of us who have awakened, as I like to call it, we're like, nah, you're full of shit. You can't be over here no more. Now look, and also too, they have Sudan and South Sudan, right? So that's what Arabs have been doing since 7th century. Stealing, straight up stealing African accessories and everything else that we're selling. You have to understand, I don't think a lot of people understand. This is why I wanted to talk about this. This thing isn't just a project to me, it's the history of Africa, like how it got to where it got to. You see the thing behind me? I made that. I even wrote that little thing right there. And for me, when I entered this into the project, and for those who are just joining me, thank you for joining me. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification button. Welcome to Sanusi Vision Podcast, episode number 231. Owo DoTi, the hands of the colonialists, they're filthy, man. No matter when, I don't care when colonialism ended, your hands are still dirty. French is still a shithole to live in. England is a dump. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have the decency to apologize. And usually when you meet people like that, arrogance is the only thing that they have. You know what I'm saying? And when you get a chance to, what's the word? Talk about it, you should speak about it in context of truth. And don't try to hide nothing, man. You know what I mean? That's all the colonizers. It's ridiculous. That's just a lot of colonizers. Like, people don't understand how many colonizers there are. Look, like I'm gonna flip the camera. Look at this. You got America, you got Sweden, you got Spain, you got Brazil, you got the United States, you got France, you got Argentina, you got Spain, you got Germany. Oh yeah, I gotta read Germany. How did I forget Germany? Hell no. Y'all, I forgot Germany. How the hell did I forget Germany? Now look, let me read Germany to you, because these German motherfuckers, these are bastards. Now after World War II was over, people thought Hitler and the Germans just ran away and died. No. Those bastards went and died in Argentina. Argentina took in the fucking Hitler's people. This is why when you go to Argentina, you see a bunch of German buildings and shit. Can you believe that? Yes. Somebody was just there and now they're leaving. You see what I mean by people? They want to talk about simple shit. I am not going to talk about simple shit. If you don't like colonialism, you ain't got to join my channel. Look at Germany right here. Let me read this shit. Death dealer parasite could not exist without Africa. Colonized Namibia, Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, Cameroon, Togo, Ghana, Senegal. Created Brandenburg African Company operated by Fritzberg. Operated by the Grossfieldberg Fortress on the coast of Ghana as a slave transfer point. Colonial period 1884 to 1919. Yeah, that was not a short time. Germany was not there for a short time, which is why Namibia is suing them for reparations. That ain't no accident, man. You know what I mean? And let me read the back too. Over 70,000 Africans worked on plantations, played a major part on the Berlin Conference of 1884 that carved up Africa into 54 countries. Germany is a shit show of the highest order. So you're known in history for a slave owner, and you're also known for trying to gassing Jews, basically eradicating over 7 million Jews. You put God knows how many slaves in chains in Africa, and then when you talk about it, they always want to talk as if we're innocent. What are you innocent of? You're fucking Germany. You're some bitches. You know what I'm saying? So that's Germany right there. Yeah, and I saw the bitch ass German chancellor going to Namibia, or where the fuck he was. I mean, you have to understand like how slavery works, how Africa was literally used as a dumping ground, people leached off of Africa. So I never understood how you can call Africa third world when it's the one feeding the rest of the fucking planet. So technically, it's the first world. I don't give a damn what anybody says. One thing I don't tolerate anymore is anybody calling Africa third world. I'll come find your ass and fuck you up. I don't know a lot of people just say what the fuck they want to me when it comes to Africa, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna fly. You know, we don't the point of everything that's been through is the truth that needs to be said. So here I am. So now look, last but not least is getting your mind right, man. I can't stress the importance of getting your mind right. You know? And for a lot of Africans, this one getting your mind right is kind of different. You need to get your mind right because of colonialism, neo-colonialism, imperialism, your crooked ass leaders that we have in Africa, the atrocities that these European countries cause repeatedly because they know they have to keep Africa destabilized, otherwise they can't keep stealing. And then the theft of what you call it? The theft of resources. You know what I'm saying? When somebody comes into your house and completely dismantles your whole existence, yo, that's a mental issue right there. So, you know, you have to really understand getting your mind right. And normally I would talk about writing your journals down. But what I really feel like Africans need in Africa is one, thank y'all for joining me tonight. Welcome to another episode of Sanusi Vision Life, episode number 231. Owo DoTi. You know what I'm saying? Africa is the project behind me, man. It's the sculpture. That's what I'm talking about. I just decided I was going to talk about the sculpture because I thought it'd be cool to talk about it. And I'm glad I did. So you have to I'm gonna call it the name that I'm calling it. Give me a second. Owo DoTi is what I called it, which means dirty hands. For those of you wondering what Owo DoTi means, dirty hands. It's basically a shortcut. I'm Nigerian, so that's how you see me wearing the African outfit too. Yes, I'm Nigerian descent. I was born in America, but I pull for Nigeria every time and always. And I pull for Africa most of all. The glory of Africa matters to me, just the same way the glory of the U.S. matters to Donald Trump. Well, glory of Africa matters to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about making Africa great again. I don't give a fuck about making America great again. I'm gonna be frank about that. America's had its time. You know what I'm saying? So you've got another great day. You got people that are, man, it's getting your mind right is different because I think to get your mind right in Africa, we need a complete and total revolution. What Traore, Gaota, and Checheni are doing in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger is incredible. Incredible. It's totally incredible. So y'all, you got to give them props for that, man. That's what getting your mind right is right there. And then final thoughts. A lot of stuff that happens, like today was about me talking about this sculpture. And maybe I'll be able to explain it better when I go to school, because at school it'll be an art piece. It'll be a part of an art piece. But you see the sculpture? And thank all of y'all. It's weird. People are showing up, but then there's no I guess people are showing up and not showing up. I don't know what the hell y'all are doing. Why the hell you are here, I do not know. If you know y'all not gonna stay, why the hell even bother showing up? Some of y'all are idiots. Like, why bother even showing up? You got people that are I've stopped you got people that don't understand, and every time they show Africa on the Geographic Channel, it's just like destabilized, unworthy, needs help. No, we don't need no fucking saving. We can save ourselves. Just stay the fuck out of Africa. And I'm talking to all the colonial countries, United States, France, Germany, Belgium, whoever the fuck you are. We don't want you in Africa. We can take care of ourselves. We can manage our own resources. We can manage our own, yeah, how you doing? We can manage our own things. And the same thing goes for Saudi Arabia too. I don't want any Islamic Arab countries in Africa because you've been stealing since the 17th century. Can you imagine over 20 million slaves? 20 million African slaves, that is what Saudi Arabia put into slavery. 20 million. 20 damn million. That's why the top of Africa, North Africa, looks the way it looks. Egypt looks the way it looks. The people that created the pyramids in Egypt look like me. But the people that look like, the people that live in those sectors now don't look like me. They inherited the lands that they stole using religion Malikum salam, I come in peace, but you don't come in no fucking peace. Malikum salam, that's the last word I want to hear with the shit y'all have done. You know what I'm saying? 20 million slaves, y'all. So you break off from the Ottoman Empire and then you decide to enslave more people. So while they were part of the Ottoman Empire, they were enslaving people. They still do it to today. It's called the Caliphate system. And then slavery didn't really end in Saudi Arabia until 1962. That's legally. But they were still doing it behind doors. Their wealth was built on the backs of Africans. No, we're done with that. You know what I'm saying? So for me, African getting their mind right is all about self-esteem, self-pride, education, no longer living in a colonized way of living. Stop thinking white people and Arabs have love for us, because they don't. Arabs are trying to steal Africa. They just want to hide behind religion. Oh, their mentality is like, you're better off with us than you are with white people. Really? How the fuck are we better off with you? What the fuck is better about you? You're not good either. You know what I'm saying? And here we have this idiot in South Africa. He runs all the way to Palestine to go free people. And I got love for Palestine because I have love for Yasser Arafat. But I don't have no love for no fucking Saudi Arabia. Fuck those motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? You know people they put in chains? Even right now as we're speaking, the war in Sudan is a proxy war being created by the United Arab Emirates. They're paying for those people to die because they want to steal gold, which is what's in Sudan. But nobody's saying that because the mainstream media is also part of it too. So as long as they're okay with them stealing shit, as long as they get something out of it. I do not care if people stay or go when it comes to me talking about stuff like this, because it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth is the truth. So thank all of y'all for joining me. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. So yo, that's my final thoughts on what's going on with this project. I'm gonna get to talk about it more, and what I'm gonna do is you're gonna see me upload me actually making it into my YouTube channel. So I just uploaded an episode today. Part 1 is what I called it. Owo DoTi Part 1. You're gonna see it on my YouTube channel. Be sure to go check it out. You get to see the construction of how I put this beautiful thing together. And for me, making this project was very important because I wanted to focus on something that's gonna build Africa forward. That matters to me. You know what I'm saying? So yo, that's final thoughts. And of course, can't get out of here without talking about all the cool gear we got. We got phone cases, and everything today is more to do with Cardiac Assassins Training Day, which is one of the reasons why I'm very what's the word I want to use here? I'm very pro-African in the way where I mean like I'm arrogant. I don't put up with no shit. Not from white people, not from Arabs, not from Indians, not from Chinese. Fuck them all. Africa belongs to Africans. If you don't like what the fuck I just said, find somewhere else to fucking be. I'm not apologizing to you motherfuckers for all the fucked up shit you've done. China right now is indirectly colonizing Africa. But they're about to get it coming to them too. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to allow you to colonize us. Nope. You can't colonize us either. So now you got phone cases. This is particularly the Cardiac Assassins Training Day phone case right here. If you love phone cases, I make phone cases for iPhone, Samsung Galaxy, and Google Pixels, right? So when I created Cardiac Assassin in the comic book, I was just like, I'm going to create all kinds of stuff. Bucket hats, t-shirts, and if you're wondering what I got on, this is African attire right here. Yep, that's right, African attire. It's and then I'm going to show you comic books too. Particularly this comic book right here. Cardiac Assassins Training Day comic book, available now on sanusivision.com. I don't even know what that means. Oh, that's what that means. So thank all of y'all for joining me tonight, man. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and hit the notification button. Look, this is the comic book that I got now. Cardiac Assassins Training Day. Available now on sanusivision.com. Yes, yours truly has a comic book out. Been out since August 27th. It's doing great. You know what I'm saying? Independence, boy. All this done independently. You know how proud I am of myself? Cardiac Assassins Training. This is the cover. You got the heroes, the carjacks. You got the villains, the assassins. And it all started with me creating characters based on myself, my 2 brothers, and my sister. And 9 years later, I created this comic book. 9 years later, y'all. 9 years. I remember telling that to my art teacher today at school, and he was like, wow, I'm not surprised that took 9 years, because that's how long it should take a good while. This thing was built from the ground up. Original characters, original drawings, original everything. You know what I'm saying? So Cardiac Assassins Training Day comic book. And it comes in 2 styles too, because for all of y'all wondering, I've got the large size and I've got the small size. If you love comics, you want to go get you one of these right here. Cardiac Assassins Training Day comic book, available now on sanusivision.com. This right here is available now on sanusivision.com. There was no way in hell I was missing another podcast episode today. That wasn't happening. Y'all have been awake since 5:30 in the morning, and I still got the courage to put up a podcast episode. That's what you call commitments. You know what I'm saying? Commitment. So you got the College of Assassin's Training Day comic book, the small version, and they got the big version. This is as big as a calendar. This is regular size. And then you flip it, guess what you got? Right? You got the sized up right there. You know what I mean? That thing is beautiful. Then of course, you know I'm going to show you the inside art. Come on, now I ain't going to do you dirty like that. If you love comic books, you love original, you got to go get you one of these right here. Pan-Africanism is on its way, man. And there's many ways to be Pan-Africanist. It ain't just you just dressing clothes. No, it's what you do. The actions you take. That's what makes you a Pan-Africanist. And there's plenty of them out there. You know, whether people, I didn't expect this to be a popular episode because I wasn't doing it for popularity. My podcast is about Sanusi Vision art and life, which means sometimes I'm going to talk about real important stuff, like me talking about this right here, colonialism, Africa, how it's been parasitically used by African, European countries and Arab countries to get where it's got to go. Yes, it's like that one Baba Boomy said, it's the truth. They've been doing fucked up shit and having slaves since 7th century. 7th century. I do not give a damn how you Arabs feel about it. You motherfuckers are gonna know about it. We know the fucked up shit you've been doing, so fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you heard what I said. Fuck you. Fuck Arab nations. From Syria to Lebanon to, you know, Lebanon owns Haiti. All these structural, all this infrastructure, Lebanon owns it. From the water system to the food system. How the hell does Lebanon own fucking Haiti? What the fuck does Arab countries have to do in Haiti? And now the same shit that's happening where they're calling those Haiti people who like guns. There are no guns in Haiti. They're freedom fighters fighting for the freedom of their country, man. So yeah, man, I'm done. Arab nations will never get a pass again from me in terms of all the fucked up shit they've done in Africa, from slavery to colonization. Yeah, they may not have colonized people in their own country, but they damn sure stole people from the country. You know, if you go to Eastern Africa, Kenya, Sudan, all them places like that, you see a bunch of dark-skinned brothers that look like me with curly hair like fucking Arabs. How the fuck do you think that happened? Arabs, Saudi Arabia, Ottoman Empire put people in slaves, 20 million slaves, castrated all the men and raped all the women. And these motherfuckers thought we got God in us. No, y'all are some fucking bastards. I'm done letting Arabs get away with fucking talking about how you are my brother. You're not my fucking brother. They've got it in their head like, well, you're better off with me than you are with white people. No, fuck you both. Fuck you and white people. We're not okay with white people putting us in chains. Why the fuck would we be okay with you putting us in chains? You have to understand, like, the history of Africa, man. I think too many people are often letting it slide, and I'm not letting it slide anymore, you know what I mean? So this is this right here. So yo, please, back to College of Assassin's Training Day comic book. It's yours, available now on sanusivision.com. Yeah, what I'm talking about really got me heated, but I'm passionate about what I'm talking about, and I'm not about to apologize to anyone about it. So let me grab one more thing. Oh yeah, water bottles. Look, we got cool gear, man. I told you we got all kinds of cool stuff. Then of course, I'm gonna show you sneakers, and I'm gonna show you t-shirts too. You know what I'm saying? Been a long day, man. I am tired. Look, right here. I would go do my laundry, but I'm so exhausted, it's not even funny. Look, College of Assassins Training Day, a t-shirt available now on sanusivision.com. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. Right there. Training Day. You see that right there? This is the future of College of Assassins Training Day t-shirt. Look at the gear. This is what we're doing over at Sanusi. Then, of course, you've got College of Assassins Training Day t-shirt for the men. So that was for the ladies right there. This is for the men's right here. You know what I mean? This is what we're doing over here at Sanusi Vision, man. Major things is happening, man. I'm telling y'all, there's a fate you have to have in yourself, man. We creating all this cool gear. Now look, let me get the sneaker. Then I'm gonna get 2 more pieces of apparel, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. We're gonna get up out of here, cause it's time to go. Cause I've been awake since 5 in the morning, doing homework, doing sculpture, doing all kinds of stuff. I need to get me some damn rest. That's what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing over here at Sanusi Vision, man. I'm proud of myself. Let me tell you. Y'all give me a second. And look, I got sneakers. You already seen the comic book. Got bomber jackets. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and definitely hit the notification button. Oh, yes, sir. This is sneakers. Bata's 3 high tops. They can go fuck themselves about Islamophobia shit. You own slaves. Arabs? Oh my God. 20 million slaves, 20 million African slaves they put in chains. They've been slaving since 7th century. 7th. And they didn't want to pass themselves off like, oh, we're good people. No, fuck you. You did what white people did. You just did it using Islam. You're not hiding behind religion. You've been trying to Arabize Africa. But we see what you're fucking doing. And we, this generation, not going to allow it. Fuck y'all. Look, these are Bata's 3 high tops right here. I just don't give a damn. These are the Bata's 3 high tops right here. Cards of Assassins Training Day sneakers available now on Sanusi.com. I say it how it is, man. I'm not trying to be punctual or hold back. I'm saying exactly how it is. Look at this. You see that right there? Look at that. You see what I'm saying? Look at that. Bata's 3. So on one foot, you got the Carjacks, the Heroes, Cajun Escalade, Glocks, Rasputin, Sincere Shepherd, Diesel, Sphinx. And then on the other foot, you got the Assassins, Sun Tzu, Artillery, Kanji, Revo, Excursion, Snipes, Yukon, the Coyotes, Seth. That's right. So double impact, man. If you love custom design sneakers, one-of-a-kind sneaker, collector's edition, you got to go get you one of these right here. Available now on Sanusi.com. Trust me. It's a must-have, y'all. It's a must-have. You heard what I said? It's a must-have. So, yo, Sanusi.com. Get yours today. Go get you a pair of these right here. Trust me, you want one of these right here. I'm telling you, man, the truth is a liberating feeling. You know what I'm saying? It is liberating. It is good to be liberated. Like, that's why, like right now, even, I can't take a job working for, I could never see me working for certain groups of people when I'm seeing what the fuck they've done. All the fucked up shit they've done. Like in Afrika right now. Seeing videos of that Chinese man beating that brother in Kenya. That Chinese man should have been executed right there. Fuck him getting arrested. Fuck him getting deported. That Kenyan brother who was working should have executed that Chinese man. How you in Africa and some Chinese man is beating your ass and you don't do shit? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm from Nigeria. Some Chinese boy tried that shit in Nigeria. We beat him to death. You know what I'm saying? See, the Chinese know who they can fuck with and who they can't fuck with in Africa. So when you go to Nigeria, guess who you're not gonna fuck with? Us. We're the wrong ones. You try that shit in Rwanda, they gonna fucking fuck you up and send your ass to jail for 20 years. You try that shit in Uganda, they got something for your ass. Some of these African countries, some of y'all, and the problem in Africa is that some of y'all countries are bitches. You holding us back from doing what we're supposed to be doing. If you ain't moving like Traore in Burkina Faso, Guyota in Mali, Ticheni in Niger, you ain't doing shit. I'm for what the Sahel states are doing. It's the only real freedom you got. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I don't give a damn. Now look, let me get y'all some sneakers, man. Let y'all see this shit right here. This right here is a bomber jacket. Everything I'm showing y'all is from the Cards of Assassins Training Day gear. These are bomber jackets right here, available on Sanusi.com. You know what we're doing over here. This is the bomber jacket right here. Cards of Assassins Training Day bomber jacket. Let me let you see it. Then I'm going to show you the puffer jacket. I got some puffer jackets for y'all to see. Look at this. Bomber jacket, man. Cards of Assassins Training Day bomber jacket. Tell me this ain't lit. This is style right here, baby. Straight style. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're doing over at Sanusi Vision, man. Making magic happen. If you love custom gear, you got to go visit Sanusi.com and get your order on. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, how can I forget? Within the pants is custom designed sweatpants. If you love sweatpants, you got to go get you one of these right here. Cards of Assassins Training Day sweatpants available now on Sanusi.com. Yes. What am I wearing? African attire. I'm Nigerian. What the hell did you think I was going to wear? And from now on, you better be hoping I don't wear African wear all the time now, man. You know what I'm saying? Love my culture. Love Africa. I'm not interested in being white. I'm not interested in Arab. I'm not interested in being Chinese. Fuck all those people. Nah, I'm going to be my people. You know what I'm saying? So, right here, Cards of Assassins Training Day, man. Available now on Sanusi.com. You can see the Carjacks, the Heroes on one side. You can see the Assassins Villain on the other side. I mean, the pants, this is next level. And this, everything I'm showing you right here is to commemorate the Cards of Assassins Training Day comic book, man. When you create something that great, you got to show it love. And then look, let me show y'all more gear.
because we're in winter time, so I might as well show you all the stuff we got that we're making. We're making sweatpants, we're making sweaters, we're making hoodies, we're making beanies. You know, speaking of hoodies, did I show y'all? Oh yeah, we got bucket hats like the one I got on my head. We got hoodies. We got beanies. We got puffer jackets. Look at this, y'all. We got puffer jackets too. Y'all thought I was gonna forget that, huh? Puffer jackets, custom design puffer jackets right here. Available on sanusivision.com. All this stuff I'm showing you is available on my website. So if you love cool gear, let me copy the link of my website into the chat. So for all of y'all who love cool gear, be sure to go to my website and check out all the cool stuff I got. If you love custom stuff, I'm definitely for you. If you're a penny pincher, I ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? Look at this thing right here, man. Cool in the cut. Custom design puffer jackets available now on sanusivision.com. If you love cool stuff, you got to go visit it, man. This is what I'm doing. Art that looks like me. That's right. And it's African. Not Afrocentric, African. You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing. And then you got beanies right here. Custom design beanies. Look at this right here. We're making beanies too now. Custom design beanies available now on sanusivision.com. It's a classic Caucasian on one side, but then you flip it because all my beanies are double-sided. You flip it, guess what you got now? A different set of art. So this is how I do all the beanies that I create for anybody, man. Visit sanusivision.com. Join the movement and get your order on. That's right, you heard your boy. Get on there and get your order on, man. It's been a weird week. I haven't had time to stream a lot, but I don't know why. But it's maybe because it's finals week. It's been brutal, y'all. Been brutal. Then, of course, you got hoodies. Last but not least, the hoodies. Are you kidding me? I got hoodies, man. Custom design hoodies. Available now on sanusivision.com. And you ain't going to see a hoodie like this because this hoodie is completely covered in art. Completely. You see this? Complete coverage of art. And then you turn up the top. Look at this. Tell me that ain't sick. You see the art on it? Look at that. On either side. You ain't going to see no hood head that has art like this. Then if you turn the inside of it up, ain't nobody colonizing me. Hell no. Look at that. You see that? Custom design hoodies, man. So available now on sanusivision.com. A lot of stuff that I make, y'all, is custom design. I'm all about the custom. I think that's it. Oh yeah, I gotta show y'all. And let me show y'all the sweaters too. I'm gonna let y'all see this. You definitely need to see this right here, man. Sweaters, definitely available on sanusivision.com. You know what I'm saying? Definitely available on sanusivision.com. So we got sweaters now too, man. So y'all, that's what's up. Sweaters, man. That's what we're doing over here at Sanusivision. So if you love sweaters, you gotta go get you one of these right here, man. On sanusivision.com. So yo, that's our night for tonight, man. I appreciate all of y'all joining me. Y'all give me a second. So y'all, thank all of y'all for joining me tonight, man. Appreciate all of y'all joining me, man. It's been an amazing episode talking about Owo DoTi. It's a project of mine that I worked on in school. And you're going to get a chance to see a 5-part video. It's probably a 6-part video of how I constructed the whole project that you're seeing behind me. This thing is it's a sculpture I created of Africa. And how I tied all the European countries and Arab countries to it in regards to colonialism and slavery. Yes, Arab countries. Yes, Saudi Arabia is a slave-toting motherfuckers. Yeah, those guys are bastards. Yeah, I don't know why everybody gives them a pass. No, you're not getting a pass anymore. You will be put on blast for the shit you've been doing. I'm not a big fan of Arab countries, man. Fuck those motherfuckers. Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, I could give a fuck less about any of them. You know what I'm saying? They don't see us. They think we're less than them. And yet they fly their bitch asses to Africa all the time begging for shit. Stealing shit. Figure out how they gonna steal shit. Fuck you. We're not begging you for shit.
there will be no apologies coming from me. I don't give a fuck if this gets seen in the future. No. Arab countries have been enslaving Africans for God knows how long. You are not doing it anymore. You are done. Saudi Arabia, fuck you. Talking about you rich. You're not rich. Your wealth is built on the backs of Africans. Castrating all the men and raping all the women. That's what Saudi Arabia did, man. You know what I mean? It's just the truth. I say it how it is, man. So y'all, thank y'all for joining me. Before we get up out of here, we gotta thank our sponsors. This Sanusi Vision podcast is brought to you by Homeland Fashions, home of authentic African fashion and accessories from the motherland. You know what I'm saying? And this podcast is also brought to you by Tigler. If you need executive services from plumbers to pediatricians and everything between, search Tigler. Don't wait, that's Tigler.com. Don't wait, that's Tigler.com. And this podcast is also brought to you by Anadel Foot and Ankle. Don't live with foot pain. Let Anadel Foot and Ankle make your feet happy again. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. That's AnadelCenter.com for details, y'all. Y'all, thank y'all for listening tonight, man. It's been an amazing episode. I got a chance to talk about my project that I just did recently. I just want to do it. I'm not doing it just so I can get clicks. This is more just me just because I wanted to do it. Sometimes it's like that. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for listening, man. This podcast is produced, written, and directed by yours truly, Adewale Boke Jr. Please check out our website at sunvision.com for all the cool gear we got. Bucket hats, beanies, phone cases, water bottles, you know, comics. What else can I tell you, man? We got all kinds of cool stuff. You know what I'm saying? And please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. You know, that's where every single podcast episode is. That's where we're throwing in streams in. That's where we're throwing in the videos. Visit sunvision.com and check out the YouTube channel with all the cool videos we got. I'm always got something popping, man. So yo, sunvision.com, Sunvision. And then also please check out our social media platforms at YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, X, and Instagram. You know, I can't thank all of y'all enough for what you've done with my YouTube channel, man. Because this year the goal was to get to 1,200 subscribers. But I've eclipsed that, man. I've blown past that. So last I checked, I think I was at 1283 or something like that. And I'm grateful for that, man. So I think I thank y'all enough, man. You know what I mean? Keep subscribing and checking out the channel, you know what I'm saying? And then the social media platforms. For me, YouTube and TikTok are the big ones. I don't really waste my time with Facebook, X, and Instagram. They're just there out of courtesy. But I don't feel like they do much for me, man. You know what I mean? You got to really understand as an artist which platform is best for you. Some people, YouTube might be best for them, and maybe they should stick with YouTube. Some people, TikTok might be best for them, they should stick with TikTok. I like both. But I really don't care for Facebook and Instagram and X. You know what I'm saying? It's same thing with Twitch. Twitch can't really do much for me, but I go on Twitch anyway because that's for gamers. I might start going on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? But that's where it's at, man. You know what I mean? Social media, artists have no excuse now. You got an independent way to get out what you want to get out, so go ahead and get it out and stop making excuses. You know what I'm saying? And look, please don't forget to review us, rate us, give us a 5-star, don't be a hater. And there's 2 things I always say every single time when I come on these live podcasts. 1, there's no success in skipping steps. The back of the line is just as important as front of the line. Be determined, not desperate. And then the second one, your dreams can be delayed but must never be extinguished. So wait your time while the universe delivers you the right hand. Be determined, not desperate. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your dreams so that nobody can stop you or tell you where to go with your dreams. You know what I mean? So continue to aspire and achieve. You know what I'm saying? Have a great week. Stay safe, y'all. Peace. Yeah.